Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Anyway, I thought I'd just start this stream off by saying Baba Booey 8 to 12 times, and I got that out of the way. So thank you for listening to me saying Baba Booey. I feel like I haven't seen a Baba Booey meme in a while, and that is very relevant. So wait until you see what I've done to the stream layout. I've made such a massive change, you're never going to believe it, and you probably won't like it. Here we go. Are you ready? I'm on this. Oh, shit. Hold on. There we go. I forgot about the chat thing. Okay, cool. I'm on this side. I thought it was more relevant because I'm kind of facing this direction, this way. And it kind of never made sense to me that I was looking off of the screen. So I thought that this was more appropriate. And I'm sure there's reasons why it won't work. Like now it's hiding the track list, so I have to like zoom this out. But whatever. At least now I'm looking at the project, so it looks. Because imagine if I was just like facing this way, and then I'm like looking off the screen, but the project is on the screen. Anyway, that's my logic behind it. Cool. Let's have a listen to some music. That's why we're here. Nobody wants to hear me say Baba Booey more than 12 times. So the first one we got up, Drill Prova. Drill Prova. I don't know who made this one. You guys are getting pretty slack on your naming conventions. Let's see if I can scroll and find Drill Prova. Oh, here we go. Brunky Spakorzi. Holy fuck, what a name. All right, here we go. It's a short one, approximately 27 seconds long. Let's listen. I mean, it sounds kind of like Man's Not Hot or something. You know, that what the fuck is it? Yeah, is that what the song's called? Man's Not Hot? That sounds kind of like that beat. I don't remember. I'm blanking. I don't remember any of the words to that song now. 2 + 2 is 4. Quick math. I don't know. Anyway, what do I think about it? I think it's a cool start. I don't think there's a whole lot going on yet. The mix sounds good. I would say maybe the guitar could have a bit more character in it. So it's a little too like normal sounding or just it's a little too maybe clean. Maybe it's a little too clean. And I'm not suggesting you should like distort it and shit, but like I think it could have a little more character to it in some manner. It just sounds a little too clean to me. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's a cool beat. It's a cool start. Now you're going to have to go outside and find a vocalist and touch grass while you're at it. I don't really have any mixed feedback. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool start. I think that's all I really have to say about this one. Yeah, cool. Let's wait. Hold on a sec. Oh, we got some free drum loops included. Check this out. I think that's about right. Yeah, that's definitely not right. Oh, this is the downbeat here. Okay. So then if we do, let's do this. Yeah, we got some free drum loops. Anyway, what am I doing this for? I don't know. Oh, what a perfect snare. Okay. Continue the theme of clicking random samples. I don't know what I'm doing. Cool. Thanks for sending. That was fun. Why am I wearing a hat? I don't know. I put a hat on today and I don't really know why. I hope that's okay with everybody. All right, let's move on. What's the next track? We got I never know how to say this. Gabritiez. Freeze. This is like, my mood is better now. I didn't quite nail the DJ mix on that one. I should have used the sync button. Yeah, this is great. This makes me feel like I don't know, like I just got a raise or maybe had a child or something. I don't know. There's just a deep happiness that's happening, but it kind of there's like a slight cost, you know? It's like it wasn't without its whatever you've achieved. It wasn't without its cost, but the cost was worth it. And if it wasn't for the cost, the achievement wouldn't be as great. That's what this makes me feel like. There's a very slight hint of melancholy. But it's great. Honestly, this is fucking it needs vocals very badly, cuz I feel like you need I feel like I want more. I want to know more about what is causing this rainbow explosion of puppy dogs. Like, imagine a puppy dog that explodes, but instead of blood and guts, it's rainbows and more puppy dogs. That's still kind of violent. Never mind. Yeah, get vocals on it. That's all I got for this one. The mix sounds great. I don't really have any. I want to maybe say bring the kick down a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, like, I'm just nitpicking at this point because it's seriously, it sounds great, dude. Like, I don't have anything to say besides it sounds great. Put vocals on it. Keep going. All right, easy peasy. Ice Kayab DNB Thingo. Here we go. Okay, so this is cool and heavy. I think the transient on the kick is a bit emphasized. I don't know what frequency exactly. I want to say somewhere around 4,000 hertz. Let's see if this quells it. I don't know if that's, it might just be like the transient is just too loud. I don't know if it's an EQ thing. It's very like snappy, but like too snappy. Like the snap is it's snapping too snappily. Like this, see this really high frequency? That to me is just a little too emphasized. This part of the kick drum. I'm not saying to cut it off completely, but let's see what happens if let's try this. Let's just try reducing the volume of just the transient. Yeah, actually that sounds better to me. Yeah, it's just a little less like ear piercing. In terms of the rest of it, you know, it's pretty cool. It's heavy. I think it needs some sort of theme or melody or something beyond drums and bass, even though it is called drum and bass thing. It's lacking that like focal point. It's lacking the hook or the melody or the idea of the song. Right now you have a nice heavy foundation to build on, but there's not a whole lot of identity happening here. Almost like everything in this track is a supporting element, but they're not supporting anything. There's no main melody or vocal thing, or you know, it's a cool start. I would be careful with the transients, and I would say your next step would probably be to try and find the theme or find the motif or the melody or the hook. Find something that makes this song this song. And that's pretty much it. Besides that, it sounds cool. Whoops, I hit spacebar by accident, which is weird. Like, how do you hit spacebar by accident? Anyway, I like this. I like this direction for you. It's less like death, because normally the stuff you send in is very heavy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But me personally, I enjoy this direction. Find a theme, find a hook, and keep going. Cool. let's keep going. We got a special treat today. Twistex has submitted a track. I think this might be the first Twistex track that we've ever reviewed on stream. So this is his track. It's a remix of a song that Brittany, Quinn and I wrote and haven't put out yet. But Andre's beating us to it with the remix. So here we go. Let's have a listen.
I've got something, I've got something to confess. Learned I never noticed it before. I've got something, I've got something to confess.
I will mention that the original song is 126 beats per minute, and Twistex has turned it up to 174, I think.
I've got something to confess. Aging faster, jumping chapters, scratching the ending, and where I achieve all the things. Where I'm well, where I'm having level, happy, not in hell. I'm relieved, can't you tell? What I'm doing, I'm leaving you for someone else. Myself.
Okay, so let's stop it there for a sec. I still the artifacts of the time stretching on the vocals, because it's such an aggressive change. I still think that maybe we should try time stretching it with Ableton or something, just to see what they sound like. Because they do, I mean, obviously it's a remix, it's drastically different tempo. You expect the vocals to not sound normal or natural because they've been shifted a lot. But I do think that it's not bad, but I feel like it sucked some of the top end out. Also, this is I've added quite a bit of high end to this, just overall, mostly in the side channels, and I found that did make the track. I'm gonna play the drop section and go back and forth. I also wonder what it would sound like with a different snare. I think the snare is lacking a little bit of impact, or I don't know. I'm not saying that I can find a better snare here in 2 seconds, but I'm just wondering. Wonder what it would sound like. Oh, I'm not in the right folder. That's why. What would it sound like with like a bit different of a snare? The snare just kind of doesn't have much character, and I know I've used that word in this stream. Yeah, let's try something like this. Let's see if 100. I think he told me it was 174. Fuck sakes. Don't you hate it when you just like forget how to do stuff? Let's find the downbeat. So that's right. Now, what happens? I know Rayham's gonna be like, "Oh, dubstep snare and a drum and bass track. Don't do that." And he'd say it like that too, and then he'd say Tuesday, isn't it? I'm not saying this is the right snare, but I'm saying that the snare that is currently in there isn't really doing a whole lot for me. I mean, it's working, isn't it? I think it sounds better with this snare. Because the snare that's in there is kind of like a little clap, like a little bit of a clap. I think that snare did a lot. I think that helped a lot. Let's keep listening. Yeah, like this snare in the breakdown almost sounds like the same snare that's in the drop section, and it's kind of like, it's cool for the breakdown because it's a little bit more low key and chill. It's a little bit more low key and chill. Wow, I sound like a fucking 19-year-old. Anyway. Oh, we went halftime. Okay, I need to adjust my snare pattern. One sec. I think a snare is really gonna amp this up. And let me show you something. This is the I clearly tuned it in a different way, but anyway, that's what that that's what that is. That little thing. Yeah, okay. I think that's what this needs, man. I think it needs a better snare, and I do agree, some cymbal splashes and crashes, and I think that's really what this needs. And then overall, I think it could use a bit more brightness up in the top end. I think it's kind of lacking some brightness, and that would just liven everything up. And maybe have the ding 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 ding, that thing, maybe have it a little bit more clearer. It's not buried in the mix, but I think it could come up a little bit. But besides that, it's great, and it's certainly very different than the original, which I'm not going to show you right now. All right, cool. Thanks for sending. Great job. We're moving on. We got Aiden Dodge. No, you're the one. I'm writing this one for a girl. A little backstory. Wow. Okay. Producers, as they age, mixes end up being more dull. Everything becomes more dull when you age. Anyway, let's have a listen. Where's the bottom end in the piano? I love the sax. That was unexpected. Okay, my biggest issue right now is when you built up to the drop, it just didn't hit. Like the drop didn't really drop. It just kind of happened, you know? And I think it's because you have like your sub bass in the buildup. You got like a pretty thick sub bass going all the way up. And then the only thing we really got that was different in the drop was the drums. I'm sure there's other stuff that you're going to say is different, but for the most part, the only step up in energy that we got at the drop was the introduction of like the kick drum and maybe like some top drums and stuff like that. So I think that like once you're in the drop, it sounds good and it's groovy, but like that big build up and then it happened, it was a bit of a letdown in terms of the energy. I wonder what, I'm going to just go out on a crazy limb here and say this is 128 beats per minute. And I'm wrong. Looks like it's maybe 126 beats per minute. Back and so they get a better microphone. The entire sound on the low quality of render. Blah 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 blah. Let's find out. It is no, it's a WAV file. It's actually a high quality WAV file. So let's see what happens. I'm just wondering what we could put here. Like, I don't know, would this work? I'm just gonna take a guess. I already know what the BPM is, 126. I'm not saying that's like the thing to do, but I think that that's an improvement. It like gives us a chance to get hit with the drop as opposed to the drop just happening kind of unsubstantially. Right now, the best part of this track is that fucking saxophone. I wonder what it would sound like if you took the piano out when you dropped, you know? Yeah, I think there needs to be more of a contrast between the build up and the drop section. Otherwise, it just kind of happens and it doesn't feel like a big moment has passed, you know? Like when you drop in this style of music, it's got to feel like a moment. There has to be this like celebration of like, oh, we finally got the bass, or oh, the piano finally went away. Like there has to be something, some sort of release of tension. And right now I just kind of feel like it's just a continuation of tension being built up until this breakdown. Okay, let's keep going. I don't know about the halftime things. I know I've done it in songs and I probably will still do it in the future, but I don't know. I don't know if it's the move. Also, here's something. What if when you dropped, you just did the tonic, like you just stuck at like instead of doing that chord progression, you did just like the one note thing, and then like that, maybe that's the release of tension. It just kind of feels like right now you've got like this chord thing going and you're adding elements and taking elements away and all that. That's cool, but something is wrong. Why Nick on the left and not the right? I know I switched it up. I meant to do it for the 1st of 2024, but I fucked up. So here I am now. I don't know. The tonic might work. It might not work. All I know is that you've got some some great elements in here. There's some great parts. The chord, I like the chord progression. I like the sax solo. I like the vibe of the track, but it's just not satisfying enough in the whole build up, drop, breakdown kind of EDM sort of energy management. I think that's my main thought on this. Halftime only really works when the thing you're halftiming is suitably established and epic. Okay, that's a very good point. Yeah. I think it's easy to just do a halftime thing because it's like, oh, I got to switch it up. Let's just do halftime. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's a bit on the nose or a bit not cheesy, but it just kind of feels contrived. Like you're like, hey, I'm going to switch it up. Let's do halftime. And it might not serve the song necessarily. It's just kind of like a thing that people do sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you got lots of great stuff here. You said there's going to be vocals. That's cool. I would just figure out a way of separating the drop sections from the non-drop sections a bit more. And maybe try to get away from that chord progression every once in a while. All right. Switch to triple time. I think that's a great idea. I think you should do that. All right, we got Swiss cheese. For some reason, it says unknown artist. Swiss cheese. Alex Lyer falling off. Here we go. Okay, this is cool so far. The bass, the sub bass, you have multiple sub bass elements happening and they're kind of like phasing in and out. There's like a bit of every once in a while there'll be a note that's like, oh wow, that's loud. And then sometimes you're like, where'd the bass go? So I think you've got numerous sub basses contributing to that area of the frequency. Yeah, two basses. So that's okay, but you got to high pass one of them. Like we can only have one fundamental, right? That's why your bass isn't solid. Your bass is kind of coming and going. It's a little wavy and wonky. You can actually see it, like right here. See how much louder this. See, like this is sustained bass, and then right here in this moment. That's when two of your basses added up. There again, you can see, and that's what's making it inconsistent, is that you've got some phase happening. Maybe try switching up your kick drum every once in a while. You know, dun 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 Like just throwing, because I do find like when you're going so long with 4 to the floor, even just taking out the kick drum for a measure and then bringing it back in, or adding in another kick drum before the next measure starts, or something just to switch it up. You don't have to do it very often, but there needs to be something to kind of like liven the kick drum up a little bit, you know? Okay, why do you and Aiden both have sax solos in your track? Did you guys like split on a sax player or something? I really like this sax part. I think you should have brought it in before most songs would have ended. Like you're 3.5 minutes in when the sax comes in. Why not introduce it earlier? Halftime. Yeah, okay, so there's lots of great stuff in this track. I don't think the track needs to be 6.5 minutes long. I think that condensing it and pulling all of the good elements and choosing a more strategic approach on how you're going to introduce and play with these different elements. You know, like you got this great sax, there's some great melodies happening and stuff, but like we're like the length of a normal song in before you start introducing these melodic elements that really are the strength of the track. Like you can have a nice groove, you can have a fun groove and it sounds good production wise and everything, but if there's no song there, then you're really just listening to like a potential song. You're listening to like the background of the song, and you do have all of the elements I think you need to have a really nice track. And I'm not saying it can't be 6.5 minutes long. I'm just saying that we shouldn't have to listen to 3.5 minutes of the track before you introduce what is arguably the best part of the song, which is the melody and the sax and the, you know, like the sassiness and the emotion. Obviously there's some emotion in the chords and the arpeggio and the way that they play off each other, but I just think that you've got all the tools to make a really great housey track. I just think you need to rearrange them in a way that it gets to the point a little bit more quickly. I don't know, like have your intro, your DJ intro shit, and then drop to this. Like that, you know, like let's see what the tempo is. 128, 127. Never mind. That's not right. It's because that. Oh my goodness. It's 128, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, 128. All right. Let me just really quickly chop this up and see if we can figure out a better arrangement. See, right off the bat, okay, I'm going to do these claps, but we're going to play it from the start again. Right off the bat, this is already, in my opinion, a way better arrangement. Let's check it out. And then fuck the halftime shit. Let's cut this out, move this here. And then go from there. But there you go. That's how you make this a much more enjoyable arrangement, because now the listener doesn't have to sit through, and not to say that the track wasn't good leading up to it, but like we get to experience this amazing sax part and like that nice breakdown and the melody and the vibe. We get to experience that without listening for 3.5 minutes. Like we should have that by then, right? Anyway, that's my thoughts. That is my thoughts. That is not grammatically correct as well. All right. I'm on a warpath against halftime. I always am on a warpath against halftime. All right. Let me undo my mastering before we destroy everything, the entire universe, with what is almost certainly going to be a very loud song. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room. All right. Let's have a listen. Vel code. Sorry for the mess. Okay. All right, I'm going to solve all your problems right now. What you have is you are missing the A section to the drops. You have B sections of drops, in my opinion. This should be a more stripped down, heavy, beat-oriented drop, maybe tonic, maybe stick at the tonic for longer. Because when you get here, it's got the melody, it's got the chord progression. It feels like it hasn't been established enough to justify the melodic drop section. I think that this is a B section of a drop. This is after you have hit us with like the cool sound design and the heavy beat and the it needs that section, which, however long that's going to be. Say it's this long. Well, as we get to the second drop, same thing here. We add 2 measures of drop section. Now we're still only at 2.5 minutes, but you don't have an outro. You don't really have much of a breakdown. All of a sudden, this is feeling more like a full song if it had like it almost feels like Moomba or something. And then you build it up, and we earn the melodic drop. We've rocked out, we've got our anger out, we've got the aggression out, and now we're ready for the melodic section of the drop, which comes here. Then all of a sudden, that section makes so much more sense because we're reintroducing the melodic ideas from the intro, the breakdown sections. The melodic stuff comes in and complements the drop instead of trying to be the drop. So I think that is going to make a big difference to this track. I mean, melodically, it's great. Mix production, all that stuff, it sounds great. I think arrangement, you're just missing the tonic drop section. Again, it doesn't have to be tonic. When I say tonic, if you don't know what that means, it's just like mostly sticking at the root note instead of moving around with the chord progression. But I think that you're building tension leading up to the drop with the chords, and then you're releasing that tension with like a heavy sound design focused drop that mostly sticks at the tonic. And then during that tonic part of the drop, you're building tension because you're not giving us the chords. And then you break that tension again by bringing the chords back in for the B section of the drop. Bing, bang, bong. I think that's the answer to this song. What did I just say? That was fucking magic. Bing, bang, bong. That's the answer to this song. Okay, that's my new saying. Great job, dude. I think you should at least try it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know anything, and I should quit making music forever. But that's my opinion. All right, cool. Moving on. We got track 16 by Cryotest, even though he doesn't want to put his name in the fucking file name. But that's fine. Let's have a listen.
Algebra's like sheet music. The important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it. Can you hear the music, Robert?
Yes, I can.
Wow, that was so cool. I don't know the original, but it sounds dope. And the timing signature switch up was crazy. It took me a minute to like figure it out, but I dug it. I think it's cool. And the way it swelled. I kind of felt like I was in an Interstellar. I know that it's an Oppenheimer song, apparently, according to the chat, but it makes me feel like I am in a Tesseract reference. It's fucking sick, man. I don't know what to tell you besides it's sick. I kind of wanted it to keep going. I felt like I was about to touch God or something. I wasn't ready for the euphoria to end. That sounds like the lyric to a song. I wasn't ready for the euphoria to end. All right, that's it. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for sending, as always. Okay, now speaking of tesseracts, we got tesseracts. Arrogant. All right, I expect this to be an arrogant beat. I did mean Tesseract from the movie, but then I did full circle reference anyway. I'm so arrogant. I'm so I'll kick you out. I'm so arrogant. I'm not a gentleman. That was sick. The sound design kind of sounded like a robot swishing Listerine. Know what I mean? Okay, my thoughts. I think it's dope. I wish that the "I'm so arrogant" vocal played a more important part in the track. Let me find the tempo. Probably like 85 or something, or 86 or 82. Slower? 71? Chime in. 69? Dude, did you know that you made this 69 beats per minute? I love it so much more now. All right, so like right before the drop, so we never got the vocals just by themselves. They were always kind of buried underneath like bass and effects and stuff like that. I think that the like "I'm so arrogant" goes so well with the drop. It's a fucking arrogant drop. So why not right before the drop have it plain as day, "I'm so arrogant" or something, and then every once in a while drop pull the sound design and everything back and just have "arrogant," you know, like lean a bit more heavily on the word "arrogant," because otherwise it kind of just feels like a background element, but it really, "I'm so arrogant," it makes the track go so much harder. And if that was a more of a focal point, like I'm trying to find a part where he says it. I'm so arrogant. I'm so arrogant. Let's just do this. I don't know. It's probably not going to work, but we're going to give her a shot anyway. I'll kick you out. I'm so arrogant. Okay, hold on. Let me send this to a different track and fucking, this is me just trying to extract the vocal in a weird way because I don't have the vocal by itself like you do. Oh, that's not right. I'll kick you out. I'm so arrogant. Whatever. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have the stems. But I guarantee you, if you, and I'm not just saying just before the drop, in the drop, you need to hit us with that vocal more clearly. Don't be afraid to pull everything out and only have the vocal dry as fuck and then come back in with the robot swishing Listerine at 69 beats per minute part. And like, "I'm not a gentleman." Like those vocal lines are so fucking good because they relate to the sound of the track so well. And they make you feel like a badass, you know, "I'm so, you know? So I just think that if you use the vocals in a more upfront, in our face way, I think that the track's going to go even harder because there's a few tracks that I can't think of right now. I was about to say a few tracks that I can think of, but I can't think of them. And if the vocal wasn't as upfront, the drop wouldn't go as hard. But the vocal gives it context. The vocal makes you feel whatever the vocal is saying. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. All I'm trying to say is push that vocal way up front. Don't be afraid to drop out the whole track and just have the vocal hit us and then come back with that crazy, like the track sounds dope. I don't have any issues with the track itself. It's just I want those vocals to be more of an important part. All right, cool. Thank you. That was heavy. Heavy. All right. Oh, we got another cryo test. Still working on this one. Okay. I don't think I have any mastering effects on. Let me just make sure. So this is very cool, but I find that the sub bass is very loud. And because it's such a pure sine wave and it's so low, it's almost kind of hard to hear what notes it's playing. Like it's just this like very deep bass, but I'm not getting a lot of tonal information from it. But right off the bat, it's just, I think the sub bass is like 5 or 6 dB too loud anyway, like regardless of what else you do. But I would maybe layer some sort of bass that has a bit more tonal information in it, some harmonics maybe, even if it's something simple like you know, like this kind of bass. I don't know how you're doing your bass, but it's obviously just a sine wave. So I think it's an F. But like if you took and you did 2 sine waves and you just like push this up like 1 and a fifth. Yeah, a fifth. Yeah. Something that has some harmonics. You could even just take your sine wave and distort it a little bit. You could distort it a lot and then low pass filter it back down and selectively choose how many harmonics you want to add in there. But there just needs to be, I think, a little bit more tonal information to let us know what notes are being played in the bass, because right now it's just very pure, deep bass. Like that is such a pure sine wave. I'm such a fucking geek. That's I looked at it, I said that's a pure sine wave, and then I laughed. That's yep, that's what I did. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a cool groove. It's a cool beat. It's just a bit vague in the melodic and harmonic department. It's just a bit like deep bass, cool vibe, and then some fleeting notes here and there, you know? So I think there needs to be just a bit more tonal information. Cool. Let's keep going. 720. Stinky okay. Stinky sock. I read that wrong. Okay, the song is called Stinky Sock. Let me make sure that I don't have any. This is sick. The drop is so sick. The buildup is kind of meh, you know? Like this section is dope. You need to, I feel like this section was kind of put there because it had to have something before the drop. That's funny, yeah. I agree. I think what you got to do is you got to do what Tesseracts did. They found a phrase, or they found something that gives the beat context, you know? Like, I'm so arrogant. That's the idea. Now you hit us with an arrogant beat, you know? Like, I don't know. My girl's thick as shit, you know, or I don't know, like, because it's thick, like the beat's thick. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but you got to find the idea of the song, because then all of a sudden you can write the song. Right now, it's a sick beat, but everything leading up to the drop was like okay as a starting point, but it didn't really do me, and it didn't really do anything for me. Like, I was just kind of waiting to see where it went. I wasn't enjoying it that much. There's some cool sounds happening. There's some cool like effects and shit. But in terms of like the song itself, there's not a whole lot of value in the intro. All of the value is in the drop. And I'm sure you're aware of that because you probably spent a bunch of time on the drop and then you're like, oh, I need an intro. Let's put an intro before the drop. And then that's what that is. But I think if you can come up with a phrase, even if it's not a phrase that's said in the track, but like an idea of what the song is about. I like Stinky Sock is funny, but this doesn't give me Stinky Sock vibes. You know, but that's something that I struggle with a lot. If I want to just make like a beat, or I want to make like a heavy track, I still need to write it as a song. My robot girlfriend has a thick chassis. That's funny. But yeah, but once I always find like I can like make a crazy sounding drop or whatever, but I can't finish the song until I understand what the song is about. Even if it's so dumb and such a small, like minuscule idea, as long as there's an idea, I can then use that idea to create the rest of the song. But until you have that idea, it's hard to just like make cool sounds into a song. At least for me, I still come at it from a slightly classical, not classical music, but like a traditional songwriter. It needs to be a song at the end of the day. It can have a sick drop. It can have sick builds and all crazy sound design, but at the end of the day, it still has to be about something. It still has to convey some sort of idea. So to me, what you should do is just listen to it. And like what I just came up off the top of my head, that my girl's thick as shit, or I'm thick as shit, or that's thick as shit. It sounds thick as shit. That's why I keep saying that, but that's only one idea. You can come up with a bunch of ideas that relates to the sound of the drop. Then once you have that idea, you can work backwards and start creating the rest of the song around that idea, whether you use actual vocals, whether it's a melody that portrays that idea. You know, there's many different ways of doing it, but that's what I would say. The drop is sick. The build has some cool elements, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Figure out what the fuck the song is about and then write it. And that's what I have to say about that. I don't have any like mix or technical feedback because it sounds dope once it gets into it. Cool. All right, let's move on. We got another Gabrieta's unnamed track. Okay, here we go. this is another sick track. Like this is, I have very similar thoughts for this one as the other one you sent. The kick drum seems a bit intense, specifically the transient. The transient seems to cut through like a bit too much. Like the transient is on a level all of its own, and the rest of the track is kind of just like existing under it. It's not, I wouldn't pull it down drastically, but I think it is just a little too upfront for the style of music. I feel like I've made this reference to you before, but like it sounds like you would enjoy Starship Amazing. Is that what they're called? Starship Amazing. I think that's what it's called. They make similar style. Maybe it's Starship Awesome. Starship Amazing. Yeah, Starship Amazing. Yeah. I think that your production is better than theirs, but I think that the style, you would still gain something from checking them out. Specifically the one about Space Jam. I don't remember the song title. It's like 14 words long. Anyway, I think this is great. I think you need to get vocals on both these tracks ASAP because they're sick. And with the right vocalist singing the right words, I'd fucking bawl my eyes out, guaranteed, while dancing. I'd dance while crying. So that's good, I think. Anyway, thanks for sending. Dope. I don't have any real... Yeah, you might be onto something about like the sidechaining being too deep, maybe. Why don't you get Quinn to sing for you? Quinn is in my Discord server. Find her and DM her. Send her both these tracks and be like, you like? Collab, bro? Anyway, it's sick, man. Great job. Okay. Next up, we got MJ, January Draft. Let's have a listen. Is that like when we have to go to war in January? We're experiencing the January Draft. Let's have a listen. Oh, I like all these little things you've added. I don't know if I like that. Like I like the reggae slapback delay shit that's happening. I don't know about the piano. I don't mind the sound of the piano, but I don't know about the notes that it's playing. It just doesn't sound like it's in the right key or something. I don't know. Let's see. Just for shits and giggles. I wish I remember where I put the Donkey Kong acapella. I don't think I put it in here, did I? Donkey Kong, D-K, Donkey Kong, because I really wanted to hear the Donkey Kong over top of this for some reason. Why was it so hard to get that sentence out? I have no idea. I don't know. I definitely don't have the Donkey Kong one in here, but what happens when you die? That's a great question. One that we'll never know. Whatever, who cares? I'm not going to try to find an acapella. I probably will. Yeah, the piano I don't think is in the right key. Somebody correct me. Somebody who's better at music than me, but I feel like if you have to like lay out a mathematical formula to explain why the piano's in the right key, it might be a bit too jazzy for me. Oh, we got another. Okay. I think some of these elements that you're putting in here are not in the right key. The piano and now the bass. Yeah, I think you might need to investigate the notes that are being played and everything. I don't think they're playing the right ones. Bum 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 bum. I think that's in the wrong key. I like the vibe of this. I like the beat. I like all the little delay things that are happening. It's all very cool. But if everything was just in the right key, or in the same key, I should say, then I think you would be better off. So maybe investigate melodically and harmonically what's going on. That's what I have to say about that one. Okay, cool. Let's go. We got 2 more. Let's have a listen. I'll make sure nobody else has sent one in. No, we're good. Okay. Chord test ping. So like this one has weird wonky notes that don't really fit in the key too, but it kind of works in this context because I think it's supposed to be wonky. It sounds like it's supposed to be wonky and it is wonky. Okay, what do I have to say about this one? I think you've got some great wonky ideas. I dig the weirdness factor. I think maybe what you should focus on is learning how to get it a little bit louder. I also think that there's no side chaining. And if there is, there's not a whole lot. So I think what you should focus on is figuring out what side chaining is and how to do it in your software. And then also how to get the level, the output level. Just, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be Skrillex level loudness, but it does need to be a little bit more like, look at all this space up here that could be used. Yeah, I think side chaining would let that kick come through because the kick is not really coming through a whole lot. So I think that's the answer to that. So side chaining and getting the overall volume up. That's what you should focus on. All right, last one. We got Draw Pop Nextera. Nextera sounds like some sort of computer company that sells computers as a company. Okay, here we go. Let's have a listen.
I count my failures as accomplishments, 'cause if I've never failed, I've never tried. Don't let it break apart my confidence. I'll try again with spirits lifted high. Yeah, anytime that I have fallen down, I just get right up and try again. And the mistakes I make are temporary. I won't let them weigh over my head. So that I'm better next time. I'll stand tall, stay strong, carry on. I'll be the best me, so I'll live my best
life. Are the claps and the hi-hats panned a little bit?
Me, so I'll live my best life.
They sound like they're panned to the right a bit. I think that is a bit distracting.
I'm from the city, from my stumbling blocks. Make a victory from the
This is beyond loud. I had my threshold set all the way up and it was still pulling. Like, watch. It's still pulling like 2.5 dB of gain reduction and I'm at 0. Wow. Okay, so what do I think? I think that, first of all, the first thing that crossed my mind was the vocals, they're very pokey in this very specific... So what I'd maybe do is take your vocal, like the track that this vocal's on, and you could dip it down a little bit with an EQ, but it might be a better idea to use a multi-band compressor. Because that just, there's just moments where he's singing and he sings a certain note at a certain volume, and that frequency really just like sticks out and hits us in the ears a little too hard. So I would go through and probably try to control that, I don't know, 2.5 to 7.5 thousand. I keep wanting to say RPM because I'd spend so much time doing car shit. Hertz, not RPM. I just get right up and try again. Like, that's probably a bit too much gain reduction in that frequency range, but all of a sudden when I pull that down, I'd feel like relief. You hear what I mean? Like when I go back and forth, like when I turn it, so listen to it with it off. So this is what you sent. And then this is on. Like all of a sudden it feels like I could turn the song up another 25% and my ears wouldn't hurt. And the female vocal that comes in, she needs more of a de-essing. I think she needs a DS. So, and I'm not talking about a Game Boy. I don't think you should buy her a Game Boy. I think you should remove some of the offending high frequencies. So if I take like a de-esser and just put it on the master bus, obviously it would be much better if you put it on the vocal track, but this is what I got. And we turn it on. Why is it not working? Oh, I got the mix down. Okay, one second. There we go. Ooh, here, right there. Here. So if we and then this is with it off. How do I just trigger this on and off? Is there a wet dry in here? I never do it. I don't know. Anyway, okay, this is with the de-esser on. This is with it off. It's not a big difference, but it would be a lot more effective if you put it right on the vocal itself. My next thought is the guitars are, again, you have quite a few elements that are a bit bothersome in that kind of harsh range, that kind of 3 to 6 or 3 to 7 kilohertz. The guitar is also kind of poking through there. See, as I pull that frequency down, you're just like, you can feel the relief happen. So I would address those, but also the build, it took way too long to get to like, we're almost 2 minutes into the track when we get to the drop. I think that's a bit excessive. I think you need to figure out a way to get to the drop sooner because, I mean, you're like 2 minutes is a long time to expect people to like, it's not that we're being impatient. It's that you're kind of like building anticipation and like, you can't just keep building there. You know, there is a limit of anticipation. And if it takes too long, then it just kind of gets stagnant and it's not, you don't have that same level of satisfaction when the drop finally hits. So I think you should probably bring the drop in quite a bit sooner, one way or another. Like maybe even get rid of the guitar section until the breakdown or something, or I don't know. There's many ways of doing it, but we shouldn't have to wait nearly 2 minutes to get to the drop. And then again, like those synths again are the same kind of frequency range. It makes me wonder like what you're using for monitoring and if it has a dip in that frequency, you know, maybe like the headphones you're using or the speakers or the room that you're in, something is causing a dramatic dip in that high mid frequency range that you're compensating for, and maybe you're adding too much of that frequency in because of that. But like your whole track, it's a bit harsh. Also, it's so fucking loud that might have something to do with it too. But for the most part, I would say give it a shot, what I suggested for the vocals, and try to figure out how to get to the drop sooner. And then I think you're going to be well on your way. All right, we got another submission come in. Whoever just submitted the SoundCloud link, you got to send me something I can download. I'm not going to go to SoundCloud. So if you want, then if you want me to listen to it, then send it to me in a download. All right, we got Ico Digital Memories. Let me make sure I'm not mastering anything here by accident. Looks good, looks good. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, let me stop it here for a sec. This sounds fucking dope, Ico. This is great. I really love the energy, and I love the melodic and harmonic parts of it. The vocal thing is not super clear, and I'm assuming it's not supposed to be, but I'd maybe try making it more intelligible. Maybe like, I'm not even sure if those are words or just vocal sounds. It almost sounds like an AI generated vocal. So the plus side of this track is it's great energy. It sounds dramatic, but it's uplifting. It's upbeat. The synths are all very exciting. The downside is when we get to the drop, we're almost too heavy in the, it's almost too bright. It's like a wall of sound, but it's a complex wall of sound. You've got kind of like a phaser rotating thing happening that I don't know if it's the move for this drop section. I think the focus of the drop section should be to have this nice full body wall of sound. And I don't know if it's the phaser rotating or if it's like the master limiter getting smoked, but there's some level of inconsistency or complexity, but not like in a good way. Like it's almost too, what's a word I'm looking for? It's almost too messy maybe. I like the wall of sound part, but the wall is a bit too messy. It needs some cleaning. It needs some cleaning upping. The other thing is I think your side chaining is happening before the kick drum. You can kind of see it here, and I heard it before I saw it, but you can kind of see this little dip here. I don't know. How are you doing your side chaining exactly? I'll let you answer that while I listen to the rest of it. Yeah, like that vocal hit, I have no idea what she said. So I'd try to fix that. Okay, fruity balance. I wonder if there's, do you have like a smoothing? So if I pull up a balancer, and I create or if I create an automation, if you go to link to, do you have any slightly off due to latency? Do you have some plugin that's like a pitch shift or something? There's something going on that is making the sidechain duck like 5 milliseconds before the kick drum, but it throws it a bit off. So you might have, if you have smoothing on, this will affect it. Maybe what you do is try to figure out what is causing the latency issue and either get rid of that, or you could, if you have, something that looks like, something that looks like this, you could just like shift it over a little bit, or sorry, shift it this way, because that's the way that it's, yeah, you'd end up shifting it a little bit over. That's kind of messy, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how messy the project looks as long as you can navigate it and it sounds good. That's the only thing that really matters. But there's something causing your side chaining to just be a little bit early. And it almost, it's a little, Fruity Balance has a latency issue from what I've heard. I can fix it though. I've never had that issue. Are you sending all of your like side-chained elements to a bus and then side-chaining that bus, or are you linking a bunch of different Fruity Balancers to one automation clip? Typically what I'll do is I'll on the channel, if I had this, I want to sidechain this, I'd create a sidechain, and then if I wanted to sidechain like the next 3, I'd just right click and I'd link it to wherever it is, and I'd link them all to that same clip. That's typically how I do it. The Fruity Balancer works as well. I'm trying to think. I used to send it to a sidechain bus, and then I stopped doing it. I don't really remember why I stopped doing it. I think there was a reason, but I can't really remember the reason. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. I like this track is honestly great. This is the first thing I've ever heard you make, and it's really impressive. I like all these fucking crazy jungle beats and shit in there too. Yeah, it's just, the drop is just, there's the side chaining issue, but besides that, it's really just a matter of like, I don't know, decluttering. I'm struggling to come up with the right words. It's almost like, have you ever been on a long car drive and you're kind of half falling asleep and there's music playing and the music is like dropping out intermittently because you're kind of like half falling into or being unconscious, and then you're snapping out of it like numerous times per second. Like, I don't know how to explain that. That's kind of what that's kind of the vibe that this gives me, is the drop is just a little too cluttery, and I think it's a combination of how complex the sounds are that you're cramming into like maybe one bus. You have like a compressor on that bus that's just absolutely getting its ass whooped by all these sounds. I have questions. I don't necessarily know why the drop sounds the way it does, but I think the main thing that's easy that you could fix is to fix the side chaining, and you could do a little experiment. You could put the Fruity Balancer, line up the clips perfectly so that it's right on the downbeat, and then just render out a little section like this. Just render out a section and look at the waveform. See if it is late. Like, don't just go off what the internet says. See if it is late, because sometimes the problem that I've had in the past with latency in FL Studio is there's certain mostly pitch shifting or chorus effects. Anything that does like pitch shifting, it'll typically have a pretty high latency, and sometimes it doesn't get reported to FL correctly, and the latency will be off because of that. But these newer versions of FL seem to have fixed that. It used to be a really big problem, like in FL10 or whatever I used to use. You'd almost have to like render out some shit because the latency would be so wrong. You'd be off by like a quarter of a second. But anyway, yeah, fix the side chaining. I think it's just a little off. whatever's happening in this section is like extra messy. I think you got to do, sometimes I have to do this to my projects where you have to do some like house cleaning or housekeeping, I guess maybe is the proper term, where you have to go and there's, when you're in the writing process, it's all loose and messy and you're being creative and you're throwing shit in. And sometimes you have to go and you have to organize all of these sounds. Okay, let's put all these tracks next to each other. Let's organize, let's send all of these similar sounds to a bus and make sure that, make sure that they're all evenly volumed and compressed and that stuff. Like, going back and it's fine to be quick and loose and messy when you're writing, but then you have to sometimes separate the process of like mixing and production and mastering and all that technical stuff and go and dial in on, mute all the drums, only listen to like that wall of sound and make that sound as good as you possibly can. Now mute that and work on just the drums, make them sound as good as they possibly can. Now bring them together and make them work together. Like that's I don't know. This is all just kind of generic advice, to be honest, but I really like what you did with this track so far. I think if you could just get that wall of sound to be a little bit more solid and less kind of fleeting, like it's kind of phasing in and out, and there's a lot of messiness in this last part in like the bottom end. It almost sounds like there's like somebody playing a double kick into one of your buses or something. Another thing you could do is turn off your mastering and ignore being loud for a second. Like, forget about the fact that you're trying to make it as loud and powerful as possible. Turn off all your mastering effects. Make it sound good quiet, then try to make it loud. I think it really just comes down to some mixing adjustments and some housekeeping to make sure that you don't have too much complexity and phasing and this, whatever this is. But overall, it's a fucking sick track. I like that. I like how you ended the track with goodbye. Anyway, great job. Please continue to keep sending stuff in. All right, let's listen to the last track of the day. Hell VR3 Meist? Anyway, okay, here we go. Let's have a listen. I feel like we're in a room where the computer is as big as the room because it's 1967 and we are calculating prime numbers. let me stop it here for a sec. I think this is sick. There's so much crazy shit happening. It's great and interesting. I think it needs a more solid bottom end. You know, we have kind of like that bass every once in a while doing like a, but I think it needs like a sine wave based or like some sort of sub bass, because especially during like these sections. Let me figure out what notes they are and I'll just play them on that. Fuck. Of course it's super jazzy. Okay, so it's C, B, C, A sharp, A? C, A sharp, G sharp, I think. Anyway, let's try that. I don't know what the other notes are, but you get the idea. Like just having that, like underneath that would make it so much better. Same with, I found like your kick drum. Or not during that part. Yeah, I kind of feel like there's not much sub action happening, at least thus far. Also, I know this is your first time to the stream, but I have to do it. I have to do it, and it's for your own good. It hurts me more than it hurts you. I'm going to have to shame you because you sent in a track that is rendered out at 192 beats per minute, kilobits per second, and that's not doing anybody any favors. So the best thing you can do right now is just put your head down in shame a little bit, feel a little bit bad that you did it, and do better next time. Okay, shaming is complete. Let's keep going. Ooh, I like those chords, but again, imagine how much better it would be with that. Really like giving us a good bottom end. Okay, I'll try to play it. It's so much better, and it's just basically a sine wave that's been distorted a little bit, and it's so much better. I'll do it one more time. I just made the rest of it up, but you get the idea. The other thing I would say about this track, and if it wasn't in the style that it was in, I would have a more strong feeling about this. But the track, I don't really, at any point in the track, I don't know where I'm at. You know, like I'm continuously being surprised by the elements. And, you know, it's kind of like an IDM style, so you can get away with that a bit more. But at the same time, it might be nice, and maybe maybe that would give us something to anchor ourselves in. So like a section that repeats, a section that is familiar, and then give us all kinds of crazy shit around that, but then build us back up and then give us the section that's familiar so that we have some sort of anchoring. Like we're like, oh, okay, here's this part of the track. And now blow my mind with a bunch of off the cuff, kind of somewhat random sounding parts, but then build up and then give us the familiar sound again. I find that helps with these more complex styles. You can still go crazy and have lots of interesting IDM kind of inspired sections and wildly complex parts. But as long as you bring it back to some sort of familiar chord progression or section, that just helps us orientate ourselves in the song. Twitch rocker, that doesn't work, but if you look beside me, I guess this way, right here, if you go on my Twitch channel, I mean, we're pretty much done for today, but I do it every Friday at 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. So you can hop in and submit for next week if you want. But yeah, I mean, like, I think the biggest thing with this is the lack of sub bass, and maybe the arrangement could just kind of ebb and flow a little bit more. I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like a bit of a collection of cool ideas. I'm not saying that there's no continuity whatsoever, but I do think that this track could have a bit more continuity. However you want to do that, I feel like if it ramped up and it broke down and it ramped up, you know, it just had a bit more of a flow to the arrangement. Each individual section is cool, but the way that you are coming and going from sections could be a little bit better. The vocals, I don't know if I'm supposed to be understanding the vocals, but I can safely say that I did not understand a single word that the vocals said. Like I'm not even sure if it's in English. So either you got to bring that way up in the mix, or you have to be a little bit more selective. And this could come down to the arrangement as well. You could pull out the drums, have chords in the vocal, maybe like a little percussive shake or something to keep the pace going. But like, it's really hard to understand because she's not human. So, and her vocals are kind of complex anyway. So it's hard, even if it was just her vocal, to understand her, harder than a normal person. But then all of a sudden you put these crazy complex IDM drums and stuff on top of it, and there's no hope in hell that we're going to understand anything she says. So what you could do is you could plan out your arrangement a little bit better, pull the drums out, let the vocals do their thing, and then bring the drums back in. And, you know, like let the drummer step back and let the vocals take the spotlight, if that's what you want to happen. If you want the vocal to just be kind of a rhythmic background element, then that's kind of what it's doing right now. But I don't understand any of the vocals, and it's kind of hard to listen to them underneath all the other crazy stuff. I want to just go out and piss. Okay. But like, this is the thing, that section, it kind of sounds like I'm supposed to understand what she's saying. Also, the whole track, you kind of assaulted us with these like drum parts, right? And I don't mean assault, we're just constantly being bombarded with like crazy. There's no like sections where we get a break from it, is there? So I don't know, maybe save it as a new version and totally fuck it up. Maybe pick a section, maybe try to condense the arrangement from a 5-minute song down to like a 3.5 to 4-minute song. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be, but it could be an interesting exercise, and you might find some things along the way if you're trying to condense down. You know, like, oh, maybe we don't need this whole section, or maybe this section could be half as long, and I'll pull the drums out and let the energy come down and focus on the vocal thing, and then build the energy back up, and then hit us with the new sub bass that you're going to add. I don't know. I think that that's what I would do. I would save it as a new version so that I have absolutely zero hesitations of like totally fucking it up. Because I find if you don't do that, you know, I've been making electronic music since 2004, so 20 years. That's a long time. I don't think I've ever gone back from like where I make a new version, like, oh no, I better make a new version in case I decide to go back. I don't think I've ever gone back once. So I think but if you don't make the new version, you're going to hesitate. You're going to be like, oh, if I cut this and move that over there, I might not be able to get it back to the way it was. So I was born in 2004. I'm old. glad we could sort that out. All right. That's cool. That's it. That's me. This is me. Thank you everybody for submitting and hanging out with me. We do it every Friday, 5 p.m. Hop on my Discord, submit your tracks. I hope you all have a good weekend. I've gone back when Ableton crashes. Yeah. Sometimes that's useful too. All right. I love you all. Have a good weekend. I will talk to you later. Good.